Why Russia is targeting energy infrastructure again. Winter strategy. As Europe braces for another harsh winter, Russia has intensified its campaign targeting critical energy infrastructure, not only in Ukraine but as part of a broader strategy with implications across the continent. These attacks have escalated in recent years, reflecting a calculated approach designed to exploit seasonal vulnerabilities, strain civilian resilience, and exert political pressure on European governments. What was once considered a series of isolated incidents has evolved into a sustained winter strategy, blending conventional attacks, cyber operations, and psychological tactics to maximize disruption. The seasonal context. Winter vulnerabilities. Winter is a particularly sensitive period for European nations. Demand for electricity, heating, and gas surges as households, hospitals, schools, and industrial facilities require reliable energy to function. Any disruption during this period can have cascading effects. Power outages can affect water treatment, communications, and transportation, creating risks for public health and safety. By targeting energy infrastructure during the coldest months, Russia amplifies both the practical and psychological impact of its operations, forcing governments to respond under heightened social and economic pressure. For civilians, the consequences are immediate. Loss of heating and electricity in sub-zero temperatures can endanger vulnerable populations, particularly the elderly, children, and those with medical conditions. Even short-term outages disrupt daily life, causing school closures, work interruptions, and logistical challenges for essential services. These vulnerabilities are precisely what Russian strategists seek to exploit in their winter campaigns. Historical precedent and patterns. The targeting of energy infrastructure is not a new tactic. During previous conflicts and geopolitical disputes, Russia has leveraged energy disruption as a tool of influence. Pipeline shutdowns, interference with power generation, and attacks on transmission lines have been used to pressure governments, extract political concessions, or demonstrate the consequences of opposing Russian interests. Winter campaigns have historically coincided with these heightened periods of vulnerability, highlighting the strategic timing and psychological component of such operations. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, these operations have intensified. Initially, attacks focused on power grids and transmission lines, but over time, they expanded to include thermal power plants, gas production facilities, and other critical infrastructure tied to civilian services. Each escalation is carefully timed to coincide with peaks in energy demand, ensuring that the impact is both immediate and highly visible. Recent escalations and key incidents. Recent months have witnessed waves of attacks targeting energy infrastructure across Ukraine and, in some cases, affecting neighbouring countries. Russian forces have deployed missiles, drones, and sabotage teams to strike power plants, electricity substations, and gas pipelines. These strikes often coincide with extreme weather, maximising civilian hardship. For example, in late October 2025, multiple thermal power plants and regional grids were struck simultaneously, causing widespread power outages in major Ukrainian cities. Residents faced prolonged blackouts, forcing emergency authorities to implement rolling power rationing. Such coordinated attacks highlight the precision and planning behind the winter strategy, targeting infrastructure in a way that magnifies both disruption and public fear. In early 2026, another wave of drone and missile attacks further damaged energy transmission networks, including electricity substations and district heating facilities. These operations were timed to coincide with sub-zero temperatures and the peak of winter energy demand, reflecting a calculated effort to amplify hardship and create political pressure. The repeated nature of these attacks demonstrates that energy targeting is a deliberate strategic component of Russia's broader military campaign rather than incidental collateral damage. Strategic objectives behind energy targeting. Russia's winter energy strategy is guided by several interlocking objectives. 1. Political pressure on governments. By disrupting power and heating systems during winter, Russia seeks to undermine public confidence in government's ability to provide basic services. Civilians exposed to prolonged outages may demand political concessions or changes in policy, placing additional pressure on leaders. The combination of fear, discomfort, and frustration can shift public sentiment and create leverage for Moscow in negotiations. 2. Economic disruption. Energy attacks impose significant economic costs. Utilities must divert funds to repair damaged infrastructure, import alternative energy supplies, and implement emergency measures. Rolling blackouts and reduced industrial output can weaken economic performance during an already challenging season. Targeting energy supply chains also disrupts transportation, logistics, and critical industrial production, compounding the economic impact. 3. Military diversion and operational strain. Energy infrastructure attacks can affect military readiness by diverting resources to civilian protection and emergency response. Factories producing essential military equipment may be impacted by power shortages, while supply chains and communications networks face disruptions. This forces governments to allocate personnel and resources away from other defense priorities, providing potential strategic advantage to the aggressor. 4. Psychological impact on civilians. Targeting energy systems in winter has a profound psychological effect. Darkness, cold, and uncertainty create a pervasive sense of vulnerability. By disrupting essential services at the time of highest need, Russia aims to erode morale, increase anxiety, and undermine social cohesion. European governments and institutions have implemented a series of measures to counter these threats and enhance resilience. Grid hardening and redundancy. Critical infrastructure is being reinforced to withstand physical and cyber attacks. Redundant systems and backup power supplies ensure that isolated disruptions do not cascade into widespread outages. Diversification of energy sources. European nations are reducing reliance on Russian fossil fuels by sourcing energy from alternative suppliers and investing in renewables. Storage capacity is increasing, and contingency plans for natural gas and electricity imports have been established. Human costs of energy targeting. Beyond infrastructure and strategy, the most immediate impact is on civilians. Cold temperatures, disrupted heating, and power outages threaten public health and safety, particularly for vulnerable populations. Hospitals and care facilities face increased pressure to maintain services, while households struggle to maintain warmth and daily routines. Emergency services often operate under extreme stress, balancing the needs of the population with limited resources. Communities have adapted through mutual aid, volunteer networks, and temporary shelters, demonstrating resilience despite ongoing threats. Yet the cumulative human impact remains significant, underscoring the humanitarian dimension of energy targeting. Cyber defense, contingency planning, and international coordination. This ongoing struggle underscores a central reality of 21st century conflict. Energy systems are no longer passive utilities, but active arenas of geopolitical competition. Winter 2025-2026 demonstrates that preparedness, resilience, and cooperation are essential for protecting societies, safeguarding civilians, and maintaining stability in an increasingly complex security environment. Europe's experience offers a model for confronting hybrid threats and ensuring that critical infrastructure remains both functional and secure in times of crisis. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos.